You unlock your phone, the same reflex you've performed thousands of times, thumb, screen, and you're already inside before your brain has fully registered the decision. Maybe you're checking the weather. Maybe you're killing 30 seconds between tasks. And then an ad appears. Exactly the thing you were thinking about 2 days ago. Not something you searched for. Not something you mentioned out loud. Something you thought about, briefly, privately, and then moved on from. And here it is, served up in a rectangle on a screen you're holding in your hand at the exact moment you happen to be looking at it. You pause. Weird coincidence, you tell yourself. And you keep scrolling. It's not a coincidence. And here's the thing. There is nothing accidental about any of it. Behind that small rectangle on your screen, a system is running that is more precise, more profitable, and more invisible than almost anything else built in the last 30 years. It doesn't need your money. It doesn't ask for your permission. It doesn't announce itself. It only needs one thing from you, and you have been giving it freely, every single day, without ever being asked. Your attention, your behavior, your time. The global data economy is worth more than $500 billion a year. Not from selling devices, not from monthly subscriptions. From you. From your movements and your pauses, your clicks and your hesitations, your purchases and the things you almost bought but didn't. From the searches you deleted but still made. From the moment you scrolled a little slower because something caught your eye. All of it is collected, processed, packaged, and sold in real time, while you're looking at the screen thinking you're just relaxing, just passing time, just living your life. This is the hidden economy of data, one of the largest industries on the planet. And almost no one who fuels it understands how it works. Most people, when they think about it at all, assume they are the customer. They assume the service exists for them. That the free app, the free search engine, the free social network is a gift from a company that wants to make their life more convenient. It's a comfortable assumption. It is also completely wrong. You are not the customer. You are not even the user in any meaningful sense of that word. You are the product. And the longer you stay on the platform, the more valuable you become to the people who built it. Think about the applications you open every single day. Social media platforms, mapping tools, music streaming services, video platforms, search engines, weather apps, news aggregators. The overwhelming majority of them are completely free. You don't pay a monthly fee. You don't hand over a credit card. You tap, and they open, and they work, and you move on. Yet behind them sit thousands of highly paid engineers, enormous data centers spread across multiple continents, and infrastructure worth billions of dollars to build and maintain. The math doesn't work unless something is being exchanged. And, yes, something is. Just not money, not yours anyway. Every action you take online creates a digital footprint. The time you wake up and reach for your phone, the routes you travel, the videos you watch all the way to the end, and the ones you abandon after 6 seconds, the articles you open and close immediately, the speed at which you scroll through a feed, the exact frame where you stop and look before moving on, whether you read comments or skip them, how long you linger on a price before closing the tab. All of it, every single micro-behavior, becomes a data point. And data points, in sufficient quantity, tell a story about you that is far more detailed, far more accurate, and far more commercially useful than anything you would ever voluntarily share. Because companies are no longer just competing to sell you something today. They are competing for something far more valuable, the ability to predict what you will do next. And the company that can predict your behavior can influence it. And the company that can influence your behavior can monetize it. This is the core logic of the digital economy. Not the app, not the feature, not the algorithm. You. Your behavior is the raw material. Your attention is the factory floor. And your data is the product being shipped out invisibly every time you tap your screen. There is a mechanism running behind every page you load. You have never seen it. It has seen everything about you. Imagine you open a website. Any website, a recipe page, a news article, a forum thread. In the fraction of a second it takes for that page to load, an auction begins. Not a slow public auction. A silent, automated one, conducted entirely by machines in the time it takes you to blink. Advertisers from around the world compete for the right to show you an ad. They are not bidding randomly. They are not bidding randomly. They are bidding on you specifically. Your location, your age bracket, your browsing history from the past 30 days, your purchasing behavior. The behavioral patterns that suggest, with statistical confidence, what you might want before you've consciously decided you want it. The system evaluates all of this in milliseconds, identifies the highest bidder, and places their advertisement in front of your eyes. The entire transaction, the auction, the payment, the delivery, is complete before the page finishes rendering. You never saw it. You just saw an ad appear and assumed it was coincidence, or maybe thought vaguely that the internet is strange and somehow knows things. It does know things. It was designed to. This process is called real-time bidding. It happens more than 10 billion times every single day across the internet. 10 billion auctions. Every day. Each one built around the behavioral profile of a specific person who has no idea the auction is happening. You have participated in thousands of these auctions. You have never been present for a single one. But the auction is only one layer. Behind it sits an industry that is larger, older, and far less visible. And this is where the investigation gets genuinely uncomfortable. Data brokers. These are companies whose entire business model is exactly what it sounds like. Collect information about people and sell it to whoever will pay. They don't build social networks. They don't offer you a service. They operate entirely in the background, gathering data from apps, websites, loyalty cards, purchase histories, public records, location signals, and hundreds of other sources. Then they do something with all of that raw information that is, in its own way, remarkable. They build profiles. Detailed, layered, disturbingly accurate profiles of individual human beings. Some of these companies claim to hold more than 3,000 data points on a single person. 3,000. Consider what fits inside that number. Your estimated income. Your health conditions, inferred from search history and purchase patterns. Your political orientation. Your relationship status. Your religious beliefs. Your likelihood of changing jobs in the next year. Your likelihood of taking out a loan. Your likelihood of responding to a specific type of advertisement on a Tuesday afternoon. All of it inferred. All of it compiled. All of it sold. To advertisers, to insurance companies, to banks, to political campaigns, to anyone with a use for it and a budget to pay. And here's the detail that tends to stop people. You never signed anything with these companies. You never created an account. You have almost certainly never heard of most of them. Acxiom, Oracle Data Cloud, Experian Marketing Services, LiveRamp. These are not household names. They are not covered in the technology press the way social media platforms are. Yet Acxiom alone is believed to hold data on more than 2.5 billion people. Not users, people. People who don't know the company exists. That gap, between the scale of what these firms know and the near total ignorance of the people being profiled, is not an accident. It is the architecture of the system. If you're finding this useful, subscribe. There are a lot more systems like this one that almost nobody talks about. And here's where it stops being abstract and becomes something closer to a demonstration. A few years ago, the American retail chain Target developed an internal algorithm designed to predict, based on purchasing patterns alone, whether a customer was pregnant. Not from any form they filled out. Not from anything they volunteered. From the sequence and timing of what they bought at the grocery store. The algorithm looked for subtle shifts, changes in the kinds of products purchased, in what combinations, at what points in the month. And it was accurate enough that Target began sending targeted maternity coupons to customers the system had flagged. One of those customers was a teenage girl. Her father found the coupons in the mail before she had told anyone in her family. The algorithm knew before the father did. Think about that for a second. Not because it's shocking, though it is, but because of what it reveals about the nature of behavioral data at scale. When billions of people generate trillions of data points every single day, the patterns that emerge are invisible to any individual human observer and perfectly legible to a system trained to find them. The machine doesn't just react to what you've done. It anticipates what you're going to do. It infers things you haven't said, haven't searched for, haven't consciously decided yet. And once it can anticipate you reliably, the next step follows inevitably. Anticipation becomes influence. Influence becomes revenue. And you are still holding your phone, still thinking you're in control of what you see. This is where the investigation shifts register, from description towards something that deserves to be named directly. Recommendation algorithms, personalized feeds, and engagement optimization are not features designed to improve your experience. They are mechanisms designed to extend your session. Every additional minute you spend on a platform is another behavioral signal harvested, another data point added to your profile, another increment of commercial value extracted from your attention. The algorithm is not asking what would make your afternoon better. It is asking what would keep you from putting the phone down. And it has had years of your data to get extraordinarily precise at finding the answer. Some researchers describe this entire structure as surveillance capitalism, a model in which human experience itself becomes raw material for economic production. Not just your purchases, not just your searches, your fears, your loneliness, your boredom, your impulses at 2 in the morning when no one is watching, except the system, which is always watching, which was designed specifically to watch, which has no off switch and no off hours. The platforms you use every day are not in the business of connecting people or entertaining audiences or delivering information. They are in the business of manufacturing behavioral predictions and selling them to the highest bidder. The product was never the service. The product was always the person using it. Before we get to what you can actually do, drop a comment and tell me, do you think people should be paid for the data companies collect about them? And if so, how would that even work? The economic scale of this is difficult to fully absorb. $500 billion annually. Some analysts project the global data economy will exceed $1 trillion within the decade. And behind every dollar of that figure is a behavioral signal that originated in a human life. A tap, a pause, a search, a moment of hesitation before closing a tab. Multiplied across billions of people, every day without interruption, the aggregate is a resource unlike anything the industrial economy ever produced, because it regenerates constantly, automatically, and without the knowledge or consent of the people generating it. Governments have begun to respond. The European Union's GDPR granted users formal rights over their personal data, the right to access it, to delete it, to object to its processing. California passed its own consumer privacy legislation. Other jurisdictions are drafting frameworks. But there is a structural problem that no regulation has yet solved. Technology moves in months. Legislation moves in years. By the time a law catches up to one version of the system has evolved into something the law didn't anticipate and doesn't yet cover. The gap between regulatory speed and technological development is not narrowing. If anything, it is getting wider. And the devices keep multiplying. Smartphones that track your physical location continuously. Smart speakers that listen for activation commands, and in doing so, capture everything that happens to be said nearby. Wearable fitness trackers that monitor heart rate, sleep cycles, stress levels, and movement patterns around the clock. Household appliances connected to home networks. Cars that log driving behavior. Each new device adds another data stream to a system that is already, by any reasonable measure, the most detailed and continuously updated map of human behavior ever assembled. And it is being assembled right now, in real time, from billions of sources simultaneously. There are practical steps available to you. Turning off location permissions for apps that have no legitimate need for them. Reviewing what each application on your phone is actually authorized to access. Using browsers that block tracking scripts by default. Being deliberate, genuinely deliberate, not just clicking through, about what you install and what you agree to when you do. None of these will make you invisible. The system is too deeply embedded in the infrastructure of modern digital life for any individual to opt out of it completely. But these steps can meaningfully reduce how much of your behavioral data flows into the system. They can return some fraction of control that the data economy quietly extracted without asking. Because awareness, in the end, may be the most consequential thing available to you. Not because knowing changes the system. It doesn't. Not immediately, not alone. But because the system depends, in part, on you not knowing. It depends on the unlock being reflexive, on the scroll being automatic, on the convenience being frictionless enough that the question of what you're trading for it never quite surfaces. The moment it does surface, the moment you start to see the architecture rather than just the interface, something shifts. Not everything, but something. You unlock your phone, the screen lights up, and somewhere in the half second before the interface appears, before the feed loads, before the notifications populate, before the ad renders in the sidebar, an auction has already run, a profile has already been updated, a transaction has already been completed. The product was delivered. You just didn't know you were the one being sold. And that leaves one final question, the one this entire system seems engineered to prevent you from ever sitting with long enough to answer. If your behavioral data is worth hundreds of billions of dollars to the companies that harvest it, package it, and sell it to the highest bidder, if your attention, your habits, your impulses, and your private moments at 2 in the morning are the raw material powering one of the most profitable industries in human history, then why are you the only participant in this economy who walks away with nothing? If investigations like this are useful to you, like the video and subscribe. There's a lot more they'd prefer you didn't think about.